Maybe, maybe.
Of discovery with you all, and we've
I feel like a fool. I think we're just gonna watch it. I think we're just gonna watch it and see what it's about.
Created and the adventures you've all had in Phase 1. And now we'd like to chat with you about Phase 2. Today we're going to do a brief overview of some of the new adventures in store for you. Our topics today include information about our new 10-player raid Gnomeregan, dungeon up, profession up, pre-guide to catch everything pretty fast, so you may want to pause or watch back through the recording if you
or
want
watch
to
someone else watch it.
Slides. We're also going to put the build up on the PTR soon. We're doing something similar to Phase 1, where we only make the era and hardcore content available, not the season itself. It is likely there will be some data.
Amazing decision.
Aware,
I am so...
Not everything you see...
Calm down. Calm down. I'm so happy that they're not like letting like the PTR ruin Season of Discovery. They're making it so like people are going into a blind, which I think is really cool. For years, like 2018 maybe, since 2018, what is that, 5-6 years? For the last 6 years, I have thought that PTRing WoW actually ruins the game. It makes it less enjoyable because everything is already solved, everything is figured out before the game even launches.
Data mined will actually be in the patch. This build will contain some experimental things, stuff for later phases, and things that maybe didn't work quite how we wanted them to. We're going to start off talking about our new raid Gnomeregan. Our assistant lead designer, Tim Jones, will be walking us through.
Big man Tim Jones. It's time to hear from Tim Jones himself.
Hello there. Thank you, Lenny, for that introduction. I'm Tim Jones, the assistant lead game designer on World of Warcraft Classic, and it's my pleasure to talk to you more and give you a sneak peek at Gnomeregan, the second level up raid in Season of Discovery, and the raid content that you'll be participating in at level 40 in Phase 2. Let's get into it. So, much like Blackfathom Deeps, Gnomeregan will be a 10-player raid. There will be 6 bosses. There were originally 5 bosses in Gnomeregan if you didn't count the Dark Iron Ambassador, so there's one more new boss that no one's ever fought before. And of course, redesigns from the ground up on all of the other bosses. So brand new.
I'm excited to fight like lead Tinker or whoever. I can't remember his name, but he's the dude in the mech. I'm excited to see what they do with the fight with the dude in the mech.
Experience overall. A ton of new rewards and items, more epics than we had in Blackfathom Deeps, with more sources, different bosses than just the last 2 bosses, dropping those. New item sets for classes to pursue. The quests and rewards have been brought up to level 40, and there's a brand new profession quest chain that leads into a pretty deep opportunity for people to find materials and craft a lot of really cool and powerful items.
What I'm hearing here is I can skin trogs. That's what I'm parsing from this. I can skin trogs, hopefully alive.
Some of the play spaces have had some changes. For people who aren't familiar with the Grubbus and Chomper encounter, you might notice that there are some radiation vents that weren't here. Those will perhaps play a part in this encounter. Crowd Pummeler is now
it's not radiation, but fine.
Of the instance. I wonder what kind of mechanics, something that punches you really hard, might have to do with being on a...
Okay, so it drops Crowd Pummeler is going to be like a fight ring. It's going to be you and your party versus a raid boss, and gnomes are going to be watching for fun.
Platform above Pit of Death? Who knows? And there's a lot of excited onlookers ready for you to take on this robot. And Sicko Thermoplug, last boss of the instance, may have added some additional mechanical suits with different properties to his arsenal, and you'll have to face off against those as well.
Okay.
Getting into...
Oh god. Leather hands. Okay. Trinket. Sophisticated attack. Mecha Strider muffler. Okay. That's a cool idea for a mace. Just a muffler off of a Mechano Strider. Trinket increases your chance to dodge and attack by 1%, increases armor by 1,000, but MS is reduced by 60%. Is that Is that a whack fucking tank trinket for the weird tank shit that's been going on? I that would be interesting to see on like shit. What scales with armor? The warlock. That'd be interesting to see on tank lock. Another mace, main hand mace. Increase whole healing done by spells and effects. So a paladin mace. That's a paladin mace. And then the crowd pummeler has been changed. It's still meant for the druid. That's so fucking stupid. Okay, the crowd pummeler is what people would farm. Not people, druids. Druids aren't people. They're below us. The automatic crowd pummeler is what druids would farm to make the rotations like make sense, like to function basically in classic. And you'd have a shit ton of them in your bag to keep up in DPS with other people after, like, I think it was Troll's Blood potions or what was used before that. So they changed it and gave bonus shit specifically to druids, which is funny as hell. And then the Gnomeregan, an offhand book, damage and healing done by magical spells. That's for mage. I think that's mage heal.
Preview of the exciting.
I'm not against that.
There's some nods to old items. I think the one people will notice is the automatic crowd pummeler. No longer will you have to get individual manual crowd pummelers. You'll be able
He knows! He's a knower!
And then use it over and over again with the cooldown. So hopefully that's a great quality of life improvement. There's also some fun items that you can pick up. The Trog Transfigurator 3000, little Orb of Deception style transforming into a Trog. Aragriar's Whimsical World Warper. Play around with it, see where it...
Is that just a TP? Like a fucking random TP?
takes you in the world. And some fun cosmetic items as
Shades, I like it.
well. Here's a look.
Deal with it. That's so fucking cringe. That's awful.
Items. You can see that some set items actually have specific set bonuses for some classes.
No leather.
And we also have tokens now that will drop instead of having a gigantic loot list that contains all of the set pieces, and you're getting frustrated if the same set piece drops for a different class every week. We've introduced set.
I'm a big fan of this. This makes it so since you're on a time crunch because phases are so fast, like it's a deterministic way to get your loot, and realistically, deterministic like loot is not bad. Like there are people that'll complain that it's not in the spirit of classic. I'm sure, 100%. But like, it's better for the cadence that they're doing Season of Discovery to actually give you a decent way to get your gear set before we go on 40 to 60 or whatever the next like level batch is going to be.
Piece tokens that can be used by everyone for a specific piece of your armor. So you can pick if whoever loots the boot token will be able to turn that into a vendor to redeem it for their set piece boots.
Oh boy.
With Gnomeregan, there's a couple updates that we're making to dungeons. The first of which are the addition of quality of life skill books. These are skill books that have a chance to drop off of certain creatures in 5-man dungeons, and they add significant quality of life spells to your arsenal that don't take up a rune slot. So we're excited for people to get their hands on these, and hopefully these solve some problems that players have been.
I'm not against that. That sounds pretty cool. I'm all for that, especially if they're like sprinkling in very specific things, like Manual of Redirect teaches you redirect. Like if they're sprinkling things in that will specifically help you with the pain points that are being built in these new theoretical classes, you know, in these new like discovery classes, I guess. Because like, you know, rogue tank, that's not a thing in retail. Wasn't a thing in classic. It's completely new. It's understandable that there's pain points with the class. Seeing things like this gives me some hope that they are going to like sprinkle in things that are specifically going to address the pain points.
Facing, such as short aura durations with paladin blessings, totem control as shaman, rogues being able to have a spell that allows them to manipulate what target their combo points are on, as well as many, many others that we're excited for players to find when they jump in.
I also really want redirect. One of my biggest problems that I'm having as rogue is not getting like combo finishers off. If I could just move my combo points over, I'd be so happy.
To phase 2. And I'd like to pass off the presentation to Nora to talk more about rune abilities.
Oh
Thank
boy.
you very much.
Hey, my name's Nora Valletta, and I'm a lead software engineer on WoW Classic. The team is very excited for you to head out and find those new rune abilities coming.
Before this, I only know about the 2 rogue ones. There's 2 rogue ones. There's Shuriken, and I sent it to a homie. Shuriken and Master of Subtlety. I only know about those, so hopefully there's more in here.
Soon in Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. I'm here to give you a sneak peek at some of those abilities, so let's dive in. Paladins. Sheath of Light will cause damage dealt with your melee weapon to also increase your spell power. It'll also cause your critical heals to apply an additional heal over time on the target. Guarded by the Light will cause your melee weapon hits to restore mana over time. However, the amount healed by Flash of Light, Holy Light, and Holy Shock will be reduced by half. Hunters. Melee Specialist is a passive ability which will reduce the cooldown of Raptor Strike, cause it to trigger instantly, and each usage of Raptor Strike has a chance not to trigger its cooldown. Melee Specialist will also remove the cooldown of Mongoose Bite.
That obviously, like, you know, melee hunter's a meme, but this makes it much more doable, especially with Mongoose Bite. That's real. Melee hunter might just be real now.
Trap Launcher allows you to place traps at any location within 40 yards, and allows you to place your traps while in combat. Additionally, your fire-based and frost-based traps have separate shared cooldowns. Warrior.
What does that mean? Separate, shared. Separate but equal? Bad joke. But regardless, that's very weird language, but I think that means that you're not going to have like a mass cooldown for all your traps. You're going to have a fire and an ice, like differentiated cooldown.
Rallying Cry is a defensive ability which can be activated to increase the health of all party and raid members within 40 yards.
Support warrior? Pog! No, in no seriousness, that actually sounds pretty cool, but support warrior.
Blood Surge gives some of your abilities a chance to make your next slam instant and cost no rage. Rogues. Use Shuriken Toss to throw
That's me!
a shuriken at your enemy, dealing damage to your target and up to 4 additional nearby targets. Master of Subtlety causes attacks made while stealthed and for a short time after exiting stealth to cause additional damage.
That is specifically to combo with that one engravement that you get on gloves right when you start as rogue. I can't remember it. It's like Strike from the Shadows or some shit like that. That is specifically made to come to combo with that. I'm about that. I like that. I'm not going to be using it probably after today because I want to get quick draw. Like, I want to do gun rogue. But Shuriken Toss is cool because that sounds like a pull. Like, no shit, a ranged ability is meant for pulling, but it's meant for a pack pull. That's how you're going to pull packs as tank rogue.
Priests. Cast Mind Spike to blast your target with Shadow Frost damage and apply a debuff, which increases the critical strike chance of your next Mind Blast on that target. This debuff can stack up to 3 times. And fan favorite from future expansions, Pain Suppression can be cast on a friendly target to significantly reduce their damage taken and increase their resistance to dispel mechanics for a short time. Warlocks. Invocation. When you refresh some of your damage over time effects while they have less than 6 seconds remaining, instant damage will be dealt to your target equal to 1 tick of that spell's periodic damage, so you no longer have to worry about refreshing your dots at the exact perfect moment. Dance of the Wicked will trigger a buff which increases you and your pet's dodge chance anytime either of you deal a critical strike to an enemy. You'll also both gain 2% of your maximum mana when that happens.
Tank lock. That's for tank lock. Like, you can use it for your pet to tank as well, sure, that's great. That's for tank lock.
Mages. Missile Barrage gives your Arcane Blast, Fireball, and Frostbolt spells a chance to reduce the channeled duration of your next Arcane Missile spell by half, reduce its mana cost to 0, and cause missiles to fire every 0.5 seconds. Chronostatic Preservation is a really cool new spell that allows you to store some of your arcane, fire, and frost energy for later use. You can only hold this energy for a short time before it combusts and expires, but you can unleash it to heal a friendly target.
Is that off support? Fuses arcane fire and frost magic to freeze chronomantic energy into a stored state for later use. You can hold this energy up to 15 seconds before combust expires. When unleashed, it heals a friendly target. Obviously, it's a support spell. I like that it's specific. Like the language is very clear that it's meant for all three trees, which I like. I like that like you're not fucking pigeonholed into being an arcane healing mage. You can be any of the three types of mage and still like get to play around with the healing abilities. That being said, I don't know. I have not interacted with anyone that's playing healer mage, but it's cool.
Combust and expires, but you can unleash it to heal a friendly target. Shamans. Maelstrom weapon causes damage dealt with melee attacks to have a chance to reduce the cast time of your next lightning bolt, chain lightning, lesser healing wave, chain heal, or lava burst spell by 20%. The cast time reduction can stack up to 5 times.
Wait. Reduce cast... Okay, so the whole point of this is to... Right? Deal damage. So you cast it, it's on your weapon, you hit 5 times, you get 5 stacks, and then you can release a big ability that would usually have a channel for 0% cast time. It's an instant. It turns your casts into instants, basically, as long as you have 5 stacks of it. That's cool. I like that.
Spirit of the Alpha is a 30-minute buff that can be cast on a friendly target to increase the threat generated by that target. You can kind of think of it like the opposite of Blessing of
Increasing all threat generated by
Salvation.
Oh my god. Okay. It's for shamans to be a support. It's for shamans to basically make the weird fucking tanks that they've introduced, right? Rogue tank, lock tank. Is there any other really weird tanks? Rogue lock. There's something else. I know they added something else. Whatever. Extra threat generation for those specifically. So if you have a homie that's playing shaman and you're playing a tank lock or a rogue tank, you can be like, hey, hit me with Spirit of the Alpha. Make me big. Make me threatening. If you're ever in a group together. Like, that's actually really cool. I like that.
While some shaman...
This also would be really funny to cast on unknowing, like, idiots. Like, it would be really funny just to, like, completely fuck with people. Mid-dungeon, just one of your DPSs is a dickhead, just cast Spirit of the Alpha on him. If he's dumb enough, he's not going to get it off his buff bar.
Shamans choose to battle with one weapon in each hand. Others prefer to dish out devastating blows with a two-handed weapon. If that sounds like you...
Also tank shaman.
Then we have two-handed...
That was the tank I was forgetting.
Each time you strike an enemy with a two-handed weapon, you gain 30% attack speed with two-handed weapons for 10 seconds.
This is one of the things I thought Shaman was missing when I was playing in Classic. I really wanted to use a big weapon, but it wasn't an option. It just wasn't. It wasn't an option. That was on Utterly Milky, I think. I think that was the name of the Shaman I played way back when Encourage opened.
Anyways, it's time for me to pass things over to Anna Resendez, who will be sharing with you some updates on our new PvP event. Take it away, Anna.
Can't wait for everyone to discover those new runes. They look amazing. Thank you, Nora.
Oh boy, new
Hello,
runes!
I am Anna Resendez, and I will talk to you about PvP. In this new level band, we're bringing a new PvP experience to you. You might have seen a little hint on our social media channels about this. So,
It's gonna be the Blood
the new
Moon.
PvP event is called the Blood Moon. The Blood Moon rises in Strangleton Vale, bringing with it absolute mayhem. When Ashenvale was created, we talked about how cool it would be for the event to be triggered by player activity in the area. After going through feedback and seeing how Ashenvale played, in this event, we wanted to take a different approach and make it more predictable so you know when the battle will take place. So, the Blood Moon event will happen every 3 hours, and we have a duration of 30 minutes. Believe me, you will be able to tell when the event is happening. The Blood Moon will shine its effect during this time.
That's really cool. I really like that they're changing like effects in the overworld just for a silly event it's only going to be relevant for 3 months, but they still went through the effort, right? Besides that, free for all PvP. That's fucking insane. That is nuts. Stranglethorn Vale is going to be even more of a hell than I remember.
And bring in a mysterious red fog to the area. During this time, the whole zone will become a free-for-all PvP, meaning allies and enemies alike will be viable targets for your blood rage. Everyone that is in the zone during this time will become a target. During the event, killing other players will allow you to earn a currency, which can be traded for various rewards. We'll talk about the rewards in a little bit. You can still group up, but be warned, the Blood Moon does not smile to those that battle in raid groups and will punish you for doing so.
Is like Hakar gonna rock up on raid groups? Please, for the love of God, make Hakar just fucking swoop in and fucking eat their asses, please.
There are those, of course, who refuse to give in the thirst of the blood. If it's peace what you seek, you can opt out of the event at any time by talking to the Sandalari emissary. You will not be able to earn any rewards if you opt out, and remember that General Realm PvP zone rules will still apply. Another big difference from Ashenville
You're
is
a
that there
bitch
won't
if you
be
opt out.
any PvE
Real talk.
objectives. That said, not only should you be wary of both enemies and allies alike, you should also keep an eye out for the chosen of the Blood Loa, who will absolutely
I was talking about him! The Blood Loa! Hakar! Oh my god!
destroy you. Does Fell River ring a bell? So, you might be wondering.
Oh my god, okay,
Get
he's
my
just gonna be a
hands
big
on
fucking
that
mob
soldier
that you
words.
can't kill. Okay.
There will be a merchant outside of Gurabashi Arena that would assist you with this. What about the rewards? Well, there are dozens of new class-specific item rewards. Here are some examples of the new rewards that come with the event. Additionally, there are new quests that will help with your Arathi Basin reputation journey. Do you want to see more about the cool rewards? What about a new car? Well, okay, not exactly a car, but
Okay.
yes.
Before anything else is said on this, I really hope that we can take these mounts wherever we want. I really don't like the Ashenvale mount is just like stuck in Ashenvale. I hope that mount is unlocked when we get our riding skills. I really hope you're allowed to take that mount out of Ashenvale. But I hope these are just like allowed to be kept. I really do.
You're seeing correctly. There will be 2 new faction agnostic mounts that you will be able to acquire.
Alliance? Oh my god, wait, they're faction agnostic. That's really cool. Okay, that means like Alliance players can have a Raptor in Classic, which I think was only available with like a really rare drop. It was one of the raid drops towards the end, I think. And then same thing. Horde players can have a fucking saber-toothed tiger, which typically is only for Nelves. But again, there was the Zulaman tiger, right? There was that one tiger that cost millions of gold in retail. That tiger, that was the only like tiger I think you could get in Classic as a Horde player. I'm getting that tiger.
Related to this event. These level 40 mounts have an appearance that is completely new to the game. I hope to see you in the battlefield. And up next, Josh will join us and he will talk to you about profession updates.
Josh about to tell us we can skin trogs.
Hello, my name is Josh Greenfield, Senior Game Producer on WoW Classic. Let's dive right in and talk about what we're going to be doing with professions in Phase 2. I want to start by saying that we've been really thrilled with the reception to our professions editions in Phase 1. It was really exciting watching people sort of discover and unlock how to create your awesome, void touch leather gloves and your extra planar spider silk boots and all those things.
I don't even know about those.
And, we're going to go ahead and expand on this quite a bit for Phase 2. There will be around 20 new recipes across all non-gathering professions. This also includes not just leatherworking, tailoring, and blacksmithing, but also alchemy, enchanting, and engineering as well. So we want to spread the love.
That's cool. I like that there's stuff being added to engineering. One thing I will say is there's like something. There's some fucking gnome engineering shit that like is like nightmarish to deal with. I don't know what it is. I don't like. I saw like a fucking Reddit post about it. Reddit. I hope they resolve it so it's not an issue. But even then, I don't know what the issue is.
Time, so that's what we're going to do. Just like in Phase 1, there will be an epic quest chain to unlock this, and we won't spoil anything about that today. You're going to have to get in the game, you're going to have to kind of go through that yourself, but if you liked what we did in Phase 1, you'll probably like this too. Next, I kind of want to talk a little bit about just some of the recipes here. I'm not going to go into
none of these are for me
about what each of these are and all the stats and everything like that. As you can see, they're very powerful. But one thing I do want to kind of call out is that you'll notice that a few of the
it's a paladin helm
required are brand new materials to the game, and a lot of them are used across different professions. Some of these similar new materials. There's definitely
that's
gonna be
priest
a
and mage
kind of economy aspect to these new professions recipes. And just like
is
everything
that chamois?
Discovery, we're most excited to see how players share resources and information to make these things. That's all we're going to say right now, but we think it's going to be a pretty fun thing to participate in the next phase. Few other things we kind of want to talk about is alchemy and enchanting in particular. When we were looking at what we wanted to do here, we could obviously add more consumables and we can add more enchants for enchanters, and to a degree we did. There are new enchanting material recipes other than what you see here, but one of the things about these professions is that in a lot of cases they don't do a whole lot for your personal throughput. If you're one of these professions, a lot of times you can make things, and a lot of times you can make a lot of gold off of having these professions. But in terms of,
to be fair, that's the whole reason I took leather, or like leather working and skinning, is like I as a rogue want some of those pieces, right? But like what my other option was alchemy, and like I want to say the main benefit I'd get from that is free action potions.
of your actual like damage output or healing output, they don't really bring anything that you can't have someone else craft for you and bring. So that's what we wanted to try here. In particular, if you'll notice on the left side, there's this new enchanted sigil innovation. And what this basically is that this is kind of like a world buff that you can carry around in your bag and give to yourself. And essentially, it has a 30-minute duration, but also a 30-minute cooldown. So if you die early, you will lose this for at least some period of time before you can put it back on. Same thing with Alchemist here. They have the ability to make this essentially damage and healing consumable, or damage and attack power consumable, and that also restores a little bit of health and a little bit of mana. So that's just something that's a little unique for them this time, and
that's specifically from Gnomer.
Looking for feedback on this sort of stuff for future phases. So now that we've kind of gone through an overview, phase 2 and some of the things that are coming in it, we do want to kind of, I guess, hit a few of like the frequently asked questions that we've gotten recently about things in phase 1 and some of the issues that have popped up and how we're addressing those, as well as just some curiosities about what else is coming in phase 2 and how specific things will work. So we're going to dive into a few of these kind of FAQ items and try and burn through as many of them as possible to give you a better idea of kind of what's going on and what our thought process on some of this stuff is. So let's just go ahead and hop right in. We will start today talking about raid schedule. We thought we'd start here because this is a pretty hot debate in the community right now. We've seen a lot of great feedback on this and have weighed a great many perspectives about, kind of when we should release.
They're gonna space it out. It's not gonna come out the day that it like unlocks. It's probably gonna be like a week. We're not gonna get every lockout. There's gonna be a restriction on the lockout, I think.
Have it available from day one, or should we wait maybe a week or some other amount of time to unlock it globally at the same time? While it's impossible, we feel, to do something that will make every single person happy, we do think we can strike a bit of a compromise here. We understand that the server or WoW first race is not just about who can zone in first. If the raid unlocks an arbitrary global time, and for a large group of players, it's also about who can get in the fastest after leveling, and it's very exciting for them to see what they can do when they're under geared or maybe without their full toolkit of runes and other like pre-raid items.
Maybe I'm wrong.
And so that is one argument we've heard in favor of not delaying it, and we think it's a very compelling one. It is very exciting to.
Okay, it's going to be on day one then.
And to watch that. On the other hand, though, if you're one of
it's not going to be on day one, dude. What the fuck?
Players who really like to take their time leveling, we realize that 3-day lockout puts you in a position where you may miss several lockouts before you hit 40. And while it's pretty unlikely to actually matter all that much in the long run, as you will have plenty of lockouts this phase, it does still feel kind of bad. And one of the things we wanted to avoid with this season was too much feeling of FOMO. So, by way of a compromise, what we're looking at doing this time is we will not delay the opening of the raid, but we will be putting the first 2 lockouts on kind of a normal weekly lockout timer. So that means that would reset on like Tuesday in North America, Wednesday in Europe, and so on and so forth, and whatever your regional unlock time.
I like that. I actually like that. That's not bad. That's a good compromise.
Will occur on February 13th, again in North America, in the morning with maintenance, and then the second will occur the following Tuesday on February 20th, again in North America, in the morning with maintenance. So each region you can offset for your regional maintenance time. What this allows us to do is, enable folks who really want to push day one to get in as fast as possible and get that first, like world first or server first clear, or just the bragging rights of saying you did it first. That's something that we don't want to take away from you. But this also reduces the number of lockouts that are possible in that time period, so that players who are leveling a little bit more casually or at a little slower pace may not feel like they missed out on as much. It's not a perfect solution, and that's one thing we really want to stress, is that when you deal with a game like World of Warcraft, and
it doesn't matter if it's not a perfect solution. The whole point of Season of Mastery, the whole point of Season of Discovery and Season of Mastery to a lesser extent, is to test shit out. The whole point is to try new things and see what works in the classic WoW setting. Like, there's nothing wrong with it not being a perfect solution, because come this time next year, it's going to be a different season, isn't it? Like, I'm not sure. I'm not saying for sure. But theoretically, it's going to be a yearly cadence.
And on this scale, there's no objectively correct answers. There are every decision we make, there's going to be people who like it, and there's going to be people who would prefer something else. But we feel that this acknowledges both. When
speedrun, after I'm done with WoW and after I'm done with Valorant.
We really hope that you like it, and we're going to keep looking at feedback on this. If this is something that
hey, Cam, I'll be with you and Steph in a few minutes.
Future phases, and if not, we may just go back
12 minutes
and try something else. But we really, really, really appreciate the ton of feedback we've gotten from the community on this. We've been watching social media, we've been watching forums, we've really been watching a lot of the commentary on this, and we couldn't have nothing we do without looking at and listening to what you guys are saying. So thank you so much for that. Next thing we want to talk about a little bit is PvP matchmaking. We realized that...
One sec. Whack ass. Get out of here. We're good.
That it can be frustrating to get matched.
Valorant don't exist no more. I got rid of it. Shit, my bad. My bad.
We do still have significant concerns about completely bifurcating PvP queues into a separate PvP or small group queue. What this means, essentially, is if you're in a group of 5 or less, you'll have a dramatically higher chance to also get matched against groups of 5 or less. And if you're in a group...
Again, I see nothing wrong with this. This is a decently good solution. I don't know what more anyone wants from them, especially when, like, theoretically everyone's getting rank 14 with the way that they're doing PvP in SOD. The only way not to get rank 14 is just by, like, not playing the game at this point, I think. Yeah, pretty much.
Group of 6 or more, same deal. You'll have a higher chance to get matched against larger groups or full groups. If the queues are long or the matchmaker can't find a good group that fits within these parameters after a certain amount of time, it'll abandon these rules and go ahead and match you with the first available, so you can at least play a game. But by and large, we feel that this will help the situation a lot for those who just kind of want to queue up solo or just with a few friends and not feel like they're always going against pre-made. We do want to stress again, though, that we firmly believe that activities like PvP Battlegrounds are just more fun and less stressful when players group up and coordinate. We can understand that if you just want a PvP and you don't want to join a group for it, it can be a little bit more frustrating than you feel it needs to be. But ultimately, coordination within your team, whether it's a pre-made or not, is going to be the key to success in any activity like organized PvP.
This guy's acting. This guy's asking for organized PvP in a 20-year-old game. That's not happening. No one's going to organize. At least the people that want to play alone aren't going to organize. They're just going to do their own thing.
When you're playing against other players, even when queuing solo, we encourage you to be as positive team members and coordinate with your groups to have the best time possible.
Oh God, a positive team member. Say it ain't so.
What the leveling buff will look like. We mentioned this at BlizzCon, that whenever the level cap increases, we will put in a level, an XP buff for the previous level band. And so what you can expect, for that. Also, we've gotten a lot of questions about what you can expect if you say you've done all the quests available to you at level 25, and what do you do for leveling it, from like 25 to 30 if you've done all those quests. So for the first question, we'll be providing a flat 50% XP buff from the 1 through 25 range, so that if you do start a new character or a new alt, or if you have a
What was it? It was There was a thing. What was the buff called? It was like, I don't know. There was a buff that was similar. It was like 100%. And it was nice, but I think 50% isn't that bad. I've played like 16 or so hours, and I'll get in when we get to the GDKP part. I want to listen through all of it. I'm trying to soak in the information stuff. I also don't mind Waylaid Supplies giving extra XP, considering like finished packages give you like 70 XP. It's a pittance. It's not nice.
What we're doing in order to help the second situation, where you may feel like you've done all the quests you can and you're not sure how best to level, we are going to make the Blackfathom Deeps raid give a very significant amount of experience when cleared in Phase 2. When you're
okay, what that sounds like to me, someone that's going to hit 25 maybe a week before BFD's over, is like farm BFD unlock, basically, to get good gear before the next raid tier. Not like before, but as you're leveling, because that gear is probably going to be better than the questing gear and the world gear that you get from 26 to 40. Not like all the way to 40, but it's going to be good gear. Like regardless of like, even at 40, it might even still be good. I don't know. I don't know the numbers on the gear, but theoretically, it would be the same as you got like the highest tier gear in the last tier. And then moving forward, you don't really need to get gear at the beginning of like the next expansion or whatever. Same logic.
Over level 25. It's keeping the lockout it has now, a 3-day lockout, to encourage players not to just do it every single day and engage in other activities, but it will be very lucrative and worth doing.
That's wise. They know that their players are fucking cretins.
Be sometime into the mid or late 30s. Lastly, Waylaid Supplies are also seeing some adjustments. We're not quite ready to talk about the full suite of adjustments coming.
As long as it's not fucking like 64 XP for a crate. God, fuck off. I spent so long making fucking herb-baked eggs, and like the XP was pitiful.
There will be new Waylaid Supplies turn-ins, and we want to make sure that they're very rewarding and they're something that you want to do. And we're also looking at removing some of the frustrations from this. Again, not quite ready to talk about the full details there, but
still working on it.
If you've had concerns with some of the frustrating aspects of them, then we're hoping to address some of those in the next phase as well. So stay tuned for a little bit more a little bit more information about that, and we'll have more as we get really close to patch or the phase launch. A few minor adjustments to Ashenvale are coming. There will be fewer people in Ashenvale specifically when the level cap increases, so we're going to go ahead and move the event to a rigid 3-hour timer, similar to what Anna talked about with the Stranglethorn Vale event. This will basically be every 3 hours.
That's not terrible, because the people that are like speed leveling 1 to 25, the cap's going to be off, but you can only get like up to a certain threshold of reputation from the Ashenvale event. So theoretically, doing that would still probably be the best way to do it instead of fucking like Warsong Gulch.
On the mark. And it will happen without player intervention. Do note, though, we don't want to make you choose between doing an Ashenvale battle and a Stranglethorn Vale battle.
They're going to stagger it! Yes! They're using their brains!
So the Ashenvale timer will be offset by 1 hour from Stranglethorn. So
thank God.
Starts at noon. This will start at 1 p.m. and they should never overlap. Yeah, so we're pretty excited about that, and we hope that the Ashenvale battles continue.
I will, but you will have to catch up to my character. I'm not rolling another character. I want to stay on my rogue.
One other thing that is kind of a common question and topic is kind of what are we going to do with the world buffs in the next phase? Simply put, we're going to go ahead and cap them. The Ashenvale Weekly Quest world buff is going to be capped at level 39, and the Black Fathom Deeps world buff is also going to be capped at 39. So you can enjoy those while you're leveling, but once you hit 40, you'll no longer basically be able to gain the benefit of those. Please also note
That's not bad, because isn't like next level cap 40? Like, that's not terrible. I don't mind that.
Veil PvP event will not actually have a world buff this time, but Gnomeregan will. Our goal is really to keep each phase's world buffs fun and exciting, but we don't want to add too much overhead to the evolving endgame, and we don't want it to be a slog to have to go.
Steph, you've seen how much I've been playing. I've been grinding professions on the side and kind of putzing around. I've been doing it leisurely. I haven't been like pushing, right? I'm level like 19. I want to say I've played for like 16 or 20 hours. It's a level an hour. Realistically, it gets to be a level an hour if you're playing at my pace.
All over the world to get all of these world buffs, and especially once we hit 60, we don't want you to have to slog through going all over the world and getting every world buff. So that's where we landed on that. We're obviously open to feedback on any of this, so please let us know what you think. Profession specializations. This is another really hot topic in the community. Just like with Phase 1, when we capped professions at 150, with Phase 2, we will be capping them at 225. And
hey, that's only 75 levels after, or that's only 75 levels until profession cap, so that's not bad. I also like that profession specs aren't going to be available until 3. It gives you more time to think about it. Like, I think I'm going to go for the tribal leather spec, because I want the devil sore leggings, but I like that you have enough time to sit on it and really think about what you want.
And additionally, we've decided that profession specializations will also not be available until Phase 3, so that's when the level cap goes to 50. We feel that profession specializations outside of engineering and a few other exceptions are kind of lackluster.
There's going to be more stuff. There's going to be more stuff! So maybe I won't take tribal anymore. It depends. I really kind of want to take tribal, but we'll see.
In original WoW, and we really want to do something fun and cool here, and we really want to take our time to do it right. So for Phase 3, profession specializations are going to have a large focus, and obviously we're not going to talk about it now, but do stay tuned for more information on profession specializations as we move closer to Phase 3. Thank you. Another common question that we get that is somewhat frustrating to answer, simply because kind of the more we talk about it, the faster
just ban them.
Can work around our efforts.
You just ban them. That's the answer. You ban them.
Exploitative accounts in general. Botting is sort of a colloquial term.
Actually, I think it was off stream when I was farming my skinning. I saw a multi-boxer in the wild. I saw a multi-boxer in the wild killing shit. It was like really apparent too, because it was like 3 people and they were all the same race, the same presets on the character, the same hair color, and then the character name 1, and character name 2.
Includes a lot of things, including just exploitative gameplay.
I don't mean to be that guy, but
players engage in.
How are they not banned?
It has a negative impact.
Like don't get me wrong. It's like it's hard. They were like level 16 or 17. They've been playing the game for a while now. Like
Impact on the game. It really does. It's something we don't like. It's something we actually hate. We spend a lot of time and a lot of effort trying to combat. And while we can't really talk about the specifics of what we're doing, we do want to talk about some really exciting new tech that's coming with Phase 2. We've had this in limited testing on live, both in Classic of its various flavors and Modern for quite some time, and we've seen some very positive results from it. And so we want to set expectations that there's never going to be a time where World of Warcraft or really any online game is going to be completely free of bad actors and malicious accounts, but we're very positive about the results we've seen from this new.
I really don't mean to be that guy, but like botting specifically should be the easier problem to fix. Like exploiting, obviously that's harder. There's like a human at the keyboard, right? But botting, it should be pretty apparent who's botting. Like, I don't know anything about back-end software development, but I really don't feel like it's that hard to find out who's botting.
Paradoxically as well, kind of the more effective we are at some of these things, the more outwardly visible the bad actors can become. A lot of times following many of our ban waves, you may actually see increased bot activity as bot farms essentially spin up new accounts and start over. But there's been a few instances of this happening. We do a large ban wave. And
I gotta adjust my shit.
streams of bots going from one part of the world to the other. But when you see that stuff and when you report it, it actually helps us clamp down on
Oh
that
boy,
new
I did my
method as
part.
well. And it gets the bot farms into a position where they are constantly kind of 2 steps forward and like 2 steps backwards. So that is really helpful. And as much as it's frustrating to see, we really want to encourage you to continue to help us by reporting things. And we're going to continue to do exhaustive work on our side for this issue. Always a frustrating thing, never easy to talk about, but we really appreciate your patience with us. So the last topic that we really want to talk about.
It's time to talk to the men. Okay, I'm gonna watch this slide. I'll stream it for you guys, like in here, so we can watch it in real time. Slide. But I wanna see everything before you give your opinion, Steph.
And this is kind of a big one. Is just jumping right into it. Starting with Phase 2 of Season of Discovery, we're going to be experimenting with a new policy change. GDKP will no longer be permitted in Season of Discovery realms. And to kind of recap, for anyone who does not know what GDKP or Gold Bid...
Don't fucking recap it for me. Okay, what do you think, Steph?
Yeah, I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's not terrible.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of thing you should try.
I think Season of Discovery is the perfect area for something like this to be tried on. Specifically because GDKPs inherently like encourage gold buying, and that is one of the biggest reasons that bot accounts exist, is to generate gold for people to buy.
Yeah.
So if you cut off the demand, like you have an over amount of supply, which means people aren't gonna like want to buy the supply, you know?
Yeah.
I don't disagree with this.
Or is that
I'm sure like the Reddit is like fucking in meltdown mode over it, but I don't disagree with this.
I look at the Reddit, people mostly like it.
Oh, that's good.
It's just a certain Spurs on and happy.
Actually, I think
But the majority of the Reddit seems to be like, lol, get fucked. You know what I mean?
it's honestly kind of based. You should just find a guild that's willing to take you to raid.
Interested parties then bid gold for the
That's the
item.
point of the
And
game.
highest bid wins.
Things like
And
this
when
are what
the
make people,
received, it's
I feel like new players don't want to play the game.
This
You're
is something
competing
we've
against
been
the guy who
discussing
spent
for a very long
$400
time on WoW Classic,
to get any
and it's
items.
not a decision
To be
This
fair,
is one
to
of
be
the
fair, I
only
have
accessible
seen
points to raid, so it's just not fun. I'm
seen
not saying like it's completely bad. In theory, it can be good, but you can't trust people to make it a good experience.
well, it's good if gold sellers don't exist, but gold sellers
That's what
do.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
If gold
You
sellers
can't
didn't
really- you
exist,
can't
GDKPs
really-
would be good.
It's hard to completely ban gold sellers, honestly. And the other part of this that like you'd have to consider, I think, is that if they crack out on the GDKPs, which is, in my understanding, one of the main ways things move, like a huge amounts of gold move, right, from
Mhm.
player to player, it will then become more obvious when gold is moving by being sold versus by a legit GDKP. So
Yeah.
it'll help them crack down on.
I mean, I think it would be apparent, like, I feel like it would be apparent. Like, if you're in a raid instance trading gold, you're in a GDKP pretty much. Like, what reason do you
what
have
I'm
to
saying.
trade gold in a raid
But I'm
instance?
saying, like, even beyond that, that makes it even easier to tell it in general, because they'll
Yeah.
see instances of people, like, getting huge amounts of gold, and they'll be like, bruh, you can't even do GDKPs anymore, what's going on here?
hmm
You know what I mean? So, makes it a lot easier to crack
It's a creative way to try and solve the botting issue. I like it.
derived that lightly. It's fair to say that GDKP has some benefits to individuals who don't want to be tied to a traditional guild or set raid schedule, and GDKPs are...
I will say though, some people are gonna be really upset about it because there's people that wholesale make all their gold from running GDKPs.
Yeah, and fuck them, deal with it, bro. It's a new season of a game, they can try and play it, you know what I mean?
I agree, deal with it, but I can see why they'd be
Things
mad.
will get cheaper, things will get cheaper in general because of this.
Yeah, there will be less gold in the economy, yeah.
So things will get decreased in price in this market. And if this stays for the push to 60, if they like the response to it and it seems good, then like things will legitimately be much cheaper.
Yeah.
And actually be farmable for normal players.
I feel like late game.
The reason they need to farm their gold with GDKPs is that GDKPs exist.
I feel like late game classic, like the inflation was really out of
problem
control
as
because of the GDKP like ecosystem.
Well, it would cause it in anything, but yeah. That's just how it is. I mean, look at Diablo 4 too. There's massive inflation in buying and selling stuff via the trade chats.
To discourage anything that gets people in groups and playing together.
So,
However, We do remain concerned that GDKP erodes traditional guild and social
GDK
cultures that are
50
really
DKP
of
minus.
our most fond memories of original World of Warcraft. And it's undeniable that GDKP contributes to and drives a lot of malicious accounts, illicit activity, RMT, botting, all of the things.
Okay, yeah, it's their actual reasoning is to try and stop gold selling. I like. It's good reason. Makes sense.
And this is another chance we're taking. We want to give an honest try to a version of World of Warcraft without GDKP present, and this is our best opportunity for that. So as of the launch of Phase 2 on February 8th, GDKP will no longer be permitted in Season of Discovery. We're going to release additional communications with another FAQ to kind of go with this FAQ, talking about this. And, once we do, we'll have that posted on forums and stuff. We'd really like to hear what you think. And
oh god, I bet the Blizzard forums are fucking on fire because of this change.
Probably both ways. I'm sure some people love it.
Well, that's like the most like disgusting place to talk about WoW, if that makes sense.
This next phase. And if it doesn't work out, we'll revisit this policy for future phases. We really appreciate everyone who has expressed that feedback and concerns on this topic. Thank you. So with
Is that it? Is that the whole show?
Today's presentation. Thank you so much.
That's it. Okay. So the new raid looks cool. The new items look cool. The dungeon changes look interesting. The new rune abilities look cash money, especially for the new tank specs. The PvP event, the Blood Moon, looks really cool. I'm quite excited for that. I like the mounts that are coming in that. I'm very excited to, as a Horde player, have a chance to get a Saber-Tooth Tiger. What?
I know Phase 2 starts like early February, but when is it supposed to end, did they say?
There is not an end date on Phase 2 yet, but it starts February 8th.
About how long did Phase 1 last?
Give me 1 second.
You hear me or no?
Yeah, I heard you.
Kind of loud, though.
Sod. This is Phase 2. What about Phase 1? Phase 1? Phase 1 started November 30th, 2023, so...
Quite a bit of time, actually.
November... Just December and January. 2 months. 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months, but that's to hit level 20.
That's fair. Well, that was to hit level 20 and then be on, like, raid lock, basically.
I don't have a problem with it, I should say.
Yeah. What the hell? Mounts, I'm excited for. The profession changes look cool. I'm actually more excited for the Phase 3 profession stuff because having more stuff to do with specialization looks interesting to me. And it might even change my mind about, like, going and, like, farming Devil Sword leather for, like, 5 years. Raid release schedule, fine with it. PvP adjustments, yeah, leveling updates. The expedited leveling I think is really good. It's gonna keep new players from feeling like it's too late to join. Like having expedited leveling at 1 through 25 so you can immediately get to the Phase 2 content, I think is a good idea. I think it's just a really good idea. Because the biggest problem with WoW is that constant feeling of, is it too late to play Classic? And I feel like it's a good way to counter it. Botting, GDKP, it's not a bad idea. I want to see how it turns out. I don't think... No bad's going to come from that. I like this. I like everything here. I am excited for Phase 2. I'm ready to play the game.
I'd be ready to play it if I wasn't playing it by myself. I think, honestly, if I got a level by myself, I'm probably not going to play it.
I don't want to start... I don't want to roll another character.
I mean, it's up to you, man. I'm just saying. This is your chance.
Wait, replay the entire video. I missed it. Not happening. Not happening. I just spent an hour watching that. Shit. Is it time to play the game?